Welcome back, CCPA fans. This is Practical CCPA Part 2, Data Management. Are there really any CCPA fans? I guess there are, but those of you learning about it are probably not fans. You just want to understand what you need to do. So I will move on. If you saw the first video, I explained CCPA across the board, and I said that there would be follow-on videos addressing the 7 key areas. This is Part 2, obviously, and this is one of the key areas. For those of you who did not view the first video, this is my background. I've been doing this for almost 25 years. Been in the cybersecurity space for a while. Yes, all of this is true. Yes, people did ask me that after they viewed the first one. Look it up if you don't believe me. I don't know how to tell you otherwise. It's true. Okay, I've done all this stuff. I've done a lot of other things as well. I've had a blessed life. So there we have it. I'm sharing this primarily for those of you who do believe it so that you have an understanding that I do have some expertise in this area and that I've been involved with this for some time. All right. When we talked the first time, I told you that there were 7 key areas in CCPA compliance. Data management, what do you have? Where do you have it? Why do you have it? Vendor management, are they third parties? Are they service providers? Do you have contractual limitations? Do you know if you have contractual limitations? Do you sell, share, trade, anything, any way with which you make profit off of your consumer data that you collect? Sell is not sell as in somebody's going to give you money. There are other elements of sell. We'll go into that later. I left it on the slide this way because it was the way it was in the original one, but I think you should flip website and request fulfillment. Website updates or public policy updates, that needs to be done now. I keep hammering this away. It is not July 1. It's January 1 when this was supposed to have been done. January when you were supposed to start your CCPA compliance. All of this was supposed to be in place by January 1. And those of you going, oh, no, it's July. I don't have to worry about July. No, July is when they wanted to start prosecuting people. It's when enforcement action is happening. There are already multiple lawsuits scheduled against companies because they are not in compliance. So if you're going to do something and do it right away, get your dang privacy policy up to speed. Make sure your consent management is up to speed. Do it the right way. Your fulfillment process on the back end, you get 45 days once people start sending the stuff in. They can't send the stuff in unless it's on your dang website if you haven't made it available to them. This is where your problems are going to come into play. Training is training. We'll explain that. And then reasonable security. Again, that comes into play for enforcement action if you didn't do it. We'll cover each one of those in future videos. Let's address data management. Data management is an incredibly easy concept, yet incredibly hard to implement. I'll ask you to start this way. Do you have a junk drawer at your house? Your desk? What about that your glove box? Or the center console of your car? Or even your backpack or your purse? Do you have any idea what you store in there? Are you surprised when you reach it and go, oh, I didn't realize that was here? That's what we do with data. We are data collectors. We share data on a regular basis and we hoard it. We never get rid of it. All right. People have trouble deleting files that go back 30 years. And yes, there are files 30 years. I always got the statement, oh, I can't get rid of those tax files or those receipts because the IRS says I have to hold them for 7 years. Yeah, but these are your tax filings from the year 2000. Okay. That's 19 years. This is who we are as people. We collect stuff. We do. We're social people. We collect stuff. We collect data. And we store it in our systems, and we store it in our computers, and we store it in our old computers, and we store it in our cloud-based drives and on our iCloud accounts with all of our inappropriate photos and things of that nature. And we leave it there. And we have no idea that we've collected it. And every piece of information we collect is data. It's a visual representation. It's an audio representation. It's a piece of electronic version of a paper representation. It is data, okay? Data collection belief for companies pre-CCPA was collect it all. We might need it, all right? Someday it may come in value. We can use it for something. Anything. We can sell it. We can use it for marketing. We can do artificial intelligence analysis with it, which is machine learning, which is data analysis. It's all the same thing, folks. We've always thought that way. Post CCPA, because of the actual penalties of what occurs if you were to lose this data, The rule needs to be collect only what we need. Why are we collecting this information? Why did we put it in place? And then we have to recognize we can only use it for the purposes we collected it for. If we collected it from a marketing perspective, movie theaters. Those of you as old as me, you used to go to a movie theater and they'd have like a car or a motorcycle or a jet ski, and they had a little piece of paper and fill it out, and you could win this. And it was strictly marketing. All they were doing is collecting the information. And if you read the fine print, it would say something like your chances of winning are 1 in 700,000 million quadrillion. But it would also say we will use this information to market to you on other things, and that used to be timeshares and fake vacations and so on. The rules are the same. You must disclose why you're collecting the information, and you must only use that information for the reason you collected it. So how do we do this? Again, I'm going to stick within my 10-minute time frame here, and I'm currently at 6. How do you do it? You start with, what do you have? You start with data discovery. You start with a methodology to identify which data is in your system, okay? That can be done 3 basic ways. You can poll your business units. You can ask the various different business units what information they've collected. You're relying on human error or human willingness to share what they've been collecting. If your business is database driven, a lot of websites, lead generation companies, online marketing companies, you have a database of data elements that you will collect, so you can extract the information from there. That should be listed at that location. Or you can use an automated indexing. This is a program or software that will come in and index every readable piece of information on your computers to include all the endpoints. You send it to all your employees' laptops, mobile devices, servers, desktop computers, whatever it may be, maybe all of your cloud environments, your Google Drives, your Microsoft OneDrives, and so on. And that index would be created, and then you would run a query against the index. There's a couple that the indexing and the query remain on the computer. There's a couple where it will index everything and extract it to a centralized location. You run the query against that centralized location, and then from there it will go out to the representative computer and extract the data for you. That's electronic discovery. This is what's done in court cases. It's what has been done when I was doing criminal investigations with the FBI. We would seize computers, index them all up, do this type of stuff. So there's an automated process that goes with that. Where is it located? This is a tough one as well, because once you know what you have, you don't know necessarily where it's been shared. You don't have a process in place to identify how many times it was emailed, how many times it was accessed, how many times it was copied. Again, start with your businesses, the business units and the employees, and do a questionnaire. Maybe they'll be truthful. Maybe they have a clue. Those people who are hyper organized will identify it. Those who are not, like myself, probably couldn't tell you everything. Again, your endpoint or your automated indexing and keyword searching comes into play. And then also you have to consider the data that went to a vendor or is stored in an application, either on-prem or off-prem. You need to find a way to look at those, identify where that is. The reason for where it is located is because you're going to have to extract it. You're going to have to be able to pull that information out and give it back to the consumer. And in some cases, you're going to have to delete it because there are deletion requirements. Now, there are 9 exceptions, and we'll go through that separately, but you may have to delete it. Why do you have it? Why was it, first off, how was it collected? Is it paper? Is it online? Why was it collected? What did you ask for? Why did you actually need this stuff? And then what does your policy allow? If your policy clearly states that you get to use the data for anything that you collected it for, or for any purposes under the sun, great. If it says that you're only utilizing it to share it with your affiliated companies, that's all it's going to be used for. If you're saying you're using it for marketing, that's all it's going to be used for. This is your privacy policy. Remember, you're going to have a consumer privacy policy that's public facing for those consumers that are not a part of your company. And then you're going to have an internal privacy policy for your employees, your applicants, those types of stuff, because you collect different data sets. So I'll just throw that out there. When we're doing this, or my team's doing this, we work with a DLVA, a data location vendor application spreadsheet, where we will locate all this out. One of the key things, if your biggest takeaway, and I'm already over my 10 minutes, I apologize. One of the biggest things is data classification. Use this data discovery to start classifying data into various different buckets: public, corporate only, employee related, intellectual property, whatever it may be, and then build your monitoring, your security around that. Data classification is the biggest saving grace for this. And if you have a data classification process in place and it has been working, then this that I just showed you, and I'm pointing at my slides, this will be easy. If you haven't, you've got a problem. Okay, we've talked data discovery. Our next conversation will be around vendor management. We'll talk about third parties and service providers and contractual requirements and data protection addendums. If you have questions, there's my email address. I'd ask that you share this with other individuals. CCPA is not going away. New York is looking at it. I was just looking at a document that showed that over 40 different states currently have CCPA similar laws that are being debated and discussed, and most are waiting to see what ends up happening with California. So thank you for watching. I hope this was informative, and give me until next week and we'll talk vendor management.